Welcome back to eNYouth Counsel, and my name is Chandra Vimala. We're really fortunate to have Nithya with us.
Nithyananda.
He's a yogacharya at the ashram here, and also he's done an amazing tour, and so we're really excited to hear about that and what his encounters have been with the youth and what yoga has brought to their life. So again, thank you very much for joining us. So did you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and have you always done yoga? Have you been always a very experienced yogacharya?
Not really. Well, I came to the ashram in 2008, and that was in July 2008, and that was the very first time I did yoga in my life. I think I tried one yoga class in university for just like this, but maybe 10 years back. Then just 2.5 years ago, that's when I started my Nithya Yoga journey, and up till now. So I'm kind of still in Pampers, or how do you call it? Baby. And there's always more to explore anyway in yoga, so it's not like you've reached any kind of final state. It's always more and more exploring. So since July 2008, that's when I started. But I started and I totally fell in love with that kind of discipline or practice, or just the state of being. I just enjoyed so much, so I connected, and that's how it took me until now. So you want to know a bit about my background, or what, or just in general? Well, I'm Canadian. I came from the French part of Canada. You may notice the accent. So, and I did studies in university, studying in geology. So during my degree in Montreal at McGill University, I was taken into volcanic studies, and it was quite an exciting job, going into the craters of active volcanoes in Central America and different places, and just studying the rocks, studying all these natural processes. So I can say I was a bit of an outer world explorer, and that took me into gold exploration. So I was looking for mineral deposits in Central America mainly. And I was just living this, happy life like everyone, enjoying, exploring, always living spontaneously, traveling. But somehow I never had a clue that this yoga and meditation and meeting the master would come in my life. It just came out of the blue. I wasn't any kind of spiritual seeker, anything. I was just a normal guy looking maybe for some fun here and there, and I had my own desires, like surfing in the ocean and jumping out of airplanes. I did all these things. So I was looking maybe for some kind of thrill in life, and I was looking in those kind of ways to get it. And for sure I enjoyed it when I did it. But when I started opening up to maybe a different potential as a human being, no? We all look for so many different things, and the desires just go on and on and on. So when I opened up to Swamiji's teachings and those practicing the meditation on a daily basis, the yoga on a daily basis, some kind of intelligence, something else awakened in me and was just telling me, why am I wasting my time trying to get, maybe some possession, working to buy something or something else, or any kind of dream, but always looking for that fulfillment in something outside myself. And then if I have such a high potential in me, the way Swamiji is describing that total bliss and inner fulfillment, then it doesn't really matter what you have outside. So by and by with my practice, it's almost like all these things just faded away. Everything that was so colorful just slowly went to, maybe faded to black and white. And now what I can see is I'm totally fulfilled in this present moment. And as I flow from one place to the next, like you said, I was on a tour just recently, and even though every weekend I was in a different place, so going from LA to Guadalajara in Mexico, to northern Mexico, Canada, to the UK, Spain, I was going into so many different places and meeting many different people. But still just living in the present moment, just flowing, like this. So I could never see, just a little thing that clicked in my something I just realized in the Himalayas. I was in the Himalaya trip for 2 weeks with Swamiji and all the people who went there. That was in September, no? September, October. And one of the ladies at the end of the trip, we were in the bus, and suddenly she said, "Oh, I can't believe it's over." And in that moment, it just clicked in me. I never had that thought that something was over, something was starting. That same night, I was flying to LA for the 2 months tour, and kind of happening spontaneously. I never planned that much what all the programs, but somehow I was just enjoying that moment. We were in the bus driving back to Delhi, and in few hours they were all flying to Bangalore. I was flying to LA that same night, but still in me it was just here and now. I hadn't projected my mind anywhere else, and in that moment I just realized, my God, I've just been living in that state of not even having a thought of, oh, now this is over, now this is starting, and kind of having this feeling that maybe I should be somewhere else. And never. It's just, I'm here, and I'm still here. So wherever my body goes now, I seem to just flow like this, and that awareness keeps expanding, obviously, having new realizations. But they're just small understandings like that you realize sometimes with the whole process. It just takes you without even your knowledge. And there's a point where you realize, oh my God, look where I'm at now. So anyway, that's just...
No, that's wonderful. And that's why I thought it was really important for you to come on, because there's a lot of people that aren't seekers, but they're feeling not fulfilled. And we see that a lot in all over the world. And so it's really important that young people hear the story and how you got, from there to here, to help them on their path. And everyone looks a bit different, but, part of Swamiji's teachings, but, what yoga has brought, and specifically Nithya Yoga, and just in your travels, what we were talking about, of what you're seeing with young people and what maybe would be beneficial, so your experiences as well.
Sure. So I've been traveling, like I said, from different country, USA, Mexico, Canada, UK. So obviously there's a huge world between, say, Mexico and Europe, or even in short distance between Toronto and Montreal. It's a totally different world. What the youth faces in northern Mexico, in the border with El Paso, Texas, in Ciudad Juarez. I was there for an LBP. We did a ASP. So we did a full weekend program, which was really amazing. One of the participants came to IA, who's a youth, basically. He's my age. Totally transformed. He just said, I'm so thankful that you came and you showed me. I said, I did nothing. I'm just here enjoying myself, and in the meantime, if you get inspired, just here's the door. I'll just show you the door. Come to experience the real source. But still in that whole thing, what I was seeing in the youth, there's so many different social contexts that will affect more, say, one population from one country to another. But again, you can also find similarities. For example, in Mexico right now, there's a huge upsurge of violence. So, physical violence. And I think that's something even in India, for example, the violence, it's all over. It's not just, but maybe in Mexico, it's gone to an extreme of, it's just people dying like this for no reason. It's just, it's almost like the extreme of mental perversion. People have not understood how to just see their fear, see their anger. And when there's greed mixed in all that for power, obviously there's a lot of different businesses going on. So without going into those details, what the youth faces as you grow up in those countries with that kind of reality, as you step out of your house and you're a kid, you don't know if you're going to face extortion in school, you don't know if you're going to be robbed or pointed a gun at, or, I mean, it's reality. This is what's happening there. My friend in El Salvador, he would run by dead people all the time in the street. Schoolmates would get murdered, just like that in the school. And nowadays, the guns are everywhere. It's just so accessible and almost desensitized in a way, because now we come from the point of view of video games and all what we see on TV. Everything is just violence, violence, violence. But when it's maybe some good kind of documentary or whatever it is, we're not interested. We just want to see sensations. We just want to see whatever the minds. That's why I'm saying it's almost like mental perversion, whether it's mental perversion by violence, by sex, by anything else. But it's almost like just indulging in that extreme of morbidity or whatever it is. So now the youth are eating this on TV. Now it's reflected in society. So how can you change this whole thing? I mean, we're facing a huge mountain, but it can be displaced. I mean, this mountain of negativity, it's at the same time this upsurge of positivity coming into play, and that's how yoga, whether it's from any system, actually, say we have Nithya Yoga, the way we live it, experience it as an experience, not just a pure physical exercise. There are other yoga systems that maybe bring yoga in terms of just pure like gymnastics. But even then, what I've seen is, even if people come in for, say, they want to lose weight, they want to feel better, they want to deal with their emotions, there's so many things, so many reasons why you want to go to a yoga class, to feel better, whatever it is, look better. But in the end, once you go through a little bit of practice, even if it's pure physical practice, I think still something awakens in you and you want more. Isn't it there something else? Is there something else? Is it just physical exercise? Is that the point? Because when you do get better, because it's one of the side effects of yoga, when you do move your body and suddenly your worries are gone, your fears relax, your mind just settles in the present moment, and that's the whole essence of reaching that, or maybe resting in that state of yoga. Realizing that state of yoga that's always here with us. It's always here, but the mind wanders, goes somewhere else, jumps and here and there. So when we're in the yoga class, even though it's totally physical, still we're there and we get some benefit. So I think even though in the West there are so many different kinds of yoga, and we associate the word yoga as a pure physical practice, maybe forgetting a huge dimension of that whole science of can call enlightenment, or reaching that state of Nithyananda, of eternal bliss, of perfect union within our own being. But there's a huge potential that can be awakened in our being, which we're starting to see now with this awakening the Kundalini Shakti, that energy, and the intelligence to also direct that energy, to make use of it, to radiate it in an intelligent way. But that energy is intelligence anyway. So the moment it awakens, it'll guide you in the right direction. Even if you don't ask what will be the next step, it'll take you to the next step naturally. So that's where Nithya Yoga may come in, even for the youth. So they may be looking for different reasons why they might go to a yoga class. But as a Nithya Yoga, as the practice of Nithya Yoga, it becomes a complete package without putting any limit or restriction onto, in this kind of yoga we only deal with this aspect, say the body only, or only with the breath. No, we do work with all the elements. So And now there's one component that is the key to Nithya Yoga is we have a living master.
Yes.
So, and even Hatha Yoga Pradipika, the science of Hatha Yoga states again and again in the necessity of a guru. Guru means teacher, nothing else, just a guide, somebody who experiences, who lives in that ultimate state of yoga and can guide you, and when it's time for you for the next level experience, he'll take you naturally. So we're so fortunate to have a master who has such a extensive experience to share so many incredible stories that we can relate to. He's, after all, he's youth himself, so for the youth it's so easy to connect. Actually, when I met him the first time in 2007, that was in Orlando in Florida, I just thought, oh, he's so cool. Because I had so many different ideas. I thought, what's going to happen? He's going to read in my mind.
Yes.
He's going to maybe see all this stuff I want to hide, whatever it is. And I had that kind of doubt or fear. And what is this after all, a guru? And what I didn't connect with that dimension, because we're not born and raised with that kind of social context. Somebody dressed in an orange robe and a turban and the kumkum. It always looks kind of odd to a Western mind. Or although, as I opened up, I realized, wow, there's a huge world. Actually, there's a lot of people that are entering into those paths of looking at the Vedic tradition, what the Vedic tradition has to offer, which is so limitless. But my point is, when I met him, I just saw, oh, he's just kind of a friend. I can relate to him so easily. And I think that's why the youth in this moment, in this age, there are so many different traditions. Many traditions where the teacher has left the body, or some other teachers that are also in the body, but with the kind of charm and appeal that Nithyananda has. It's just impossible to find, I think, anywhere else. So again and again, as I go around the world and meet people, I'm always so grateful. Wow, thank you. Thank you to have met the master and not lose time in another path, because eventually all the paths, I'm sure, will lead to that ultimate fulfillment. There's no other way. But to have found somebody who just like this, here, have it. So
that's so true. Just being a young, vibrant, enlightened master, great sense of humor, intelligent, and like he says, he doesn't have to figure out what the youth are doing. I am a youth, so it's just easy for him to connect. So I think that's one of the pieces that are just so important for young people, that we have this young enlightened master that's on earth that can bring so much to their lives. And I see that so many of them are really lost. They're not really sure where to go or what to connect with, and there's so many things that they're trying out there. And I've seen amazing stories that have come from what he's downloaded, for this yoga and for the meditation. It's just a beautiful opportunity for them to try and see the transformation that happens in their life. And you've probably seen that. Maybe we should talk a little bit about Nithya Yoga and the meditation that you've taken to the world and to the ashram here. It's all of our yoga classes. So you would have never thought, how you been? I thought that you did yoga all your life. Just like Swamiji, he started when he was 3 years old.
Yeah.
So that he can hold the energy. He had a pretty strict regiment for the yoga.
So in our yoga classes, like I was saying, we combine all the elements. We start by simply centering ourselves, entering into that present moment, because the mind will be wandering. It'll be somewhere else. Just start feeling the body. First, if we want to expand consciousness, well, let's first expand to the body itself, because whether we like it or not, we're not totally aware of everything happening in our body at all times. So we just center ourselves, relax, come into that space, and we move on to some physical preparation. for that, there are so many asanas, the body postures, no? What most yoga systems focus on. And then there's pranayama also, very important, the breathing techniques, expanding the dimensions of prana. And prana, the life force, the life energy, that not only breathing in with the nose, but also in different ways. Now, recently in the LEP process, Swamiji introduced that samana balancing, and as a result, we've seen how different things happen, levitation and all these things, which you would never believe. How can that be? Still, it's happening. So, so it's there. What can you do?
And that is really true. You know, I've taken yoga, you know, for a few years, and I find a lot of the yogas are not just concentrating as much on the breath, but on the postures. And so you're spending all of this time, you know, getting yourself into a posture. And I really noticed the difference of bringing in the prana and really just moving with the body and having this spiritual experience, you know, in a human body. And all of a sudden I was doing movements that I've never been able to do in the 2 years that I was doing yoga, and just starting to feel this life force that's come through me. And it didn't really matter at the beginning if I couldn't bend to a specific way or whatever. It's just always moving with the prana and then allowing that body to happen. It's just really freeing, you know, and especially people struggling with, you know, maybe weight or different, you know, difficulties with their back or
arthritis and all these things, so many different things. Now we're having in class, so in different kinds of conditions. Some people can move this way, some people can't, like this. But also very important in Nithya Yoga is the power of intention, of creating. What do you want to create in life? Like, what do you want to see as reality in your life? If you move your body, but still your mind is doing another buying list and your grocery list, you're not there. You're still worried. And what are you inscribing in your muscle memory? Those same thoughts, those same worries. And we know that the mind creates the body. Whatever happens on and on and on in your mind, the thoughts going on, the emotions going on, it creates brain grooves, it creates a certain pattern even in your DNA, the way science even presents today, how the DNA can modify, can change, and according to different emotions in our system. So if we're constantly being pulled towards one way of thinking, what few habits, if we're constantly used to worry about something, unconsciously we don't know, it becomes part of our muscle memory. The muscles become stiff if we're always tensed by stress, the effects of stress, of fear, of anger. I mean, the whole body literally contracts, and that we don't realize our very life energy just leaves the system. Constantly being, the nervous system is almost on this high voltage all the time, but not the good kind of hormones and good say chemicals in the body, because when we activate through the movement of yoga, many different glands, and then that's in the physical body, also in subtle parts of the body, the energy channels, the chakras, we energize the whole body. And if the mind is totally in the process, instead of being drawn out to the senses, but now something very important happens during the practice as you move the body with your breath, is you're drawn inside. And when your whole attention turns inside, well, that whole flow of energy starts to go towards you and just building up within yourself. So you really feel so charged with energy, so alive after a yoga class, because that whatever is spent out in the senses, I keep reminding people, close your eyes, just spend a moment, just look inside, feel what's happening in your body, instead of finishing a posture or during a posture and be looking left and right and what's this person doing, what's that person doing. If we're constantly worried at what's happening outside, yoga is not happening. Yoga is a deep experience of you, and that can only happen with you. And since with the eyes, for example, so much of the energy is the attention is lost. It's just going out and, okay, what's interesting, especially in this world where the youth is facing always these screens, you know, cell phones, computers, televisions, everywhere you go, even in it never rests. You go in the metro, you go in the subway, there's the quick news. So in the elevator it's there. Everywhere you go, it's like flashing boards, light. So the senses, the reaction on the brain, on the whole physiology, I think science is just at the tip of the iceberg of understanding the depth of that issue. What's going to be this world in 50 years? Not 50 years, just thinking just next year or 2 years, with the technology is going so fast. We were just saying before, youth now, they go in a social place, instead of talking to one another, they just text message. So, hey, I'm here. Oh, I'm here too. It's like, oh, we're 2 meters apart.
Yeah, now many TVs now, or you know.
So we become in that kind of mental shell, and living in that mental shell, we become very disconnected with the body. That's why in Nithya Yoga we say some of the very first principles is be physical. And when we say be physical, it doesn't mean work yourself out till your body is in all pain. No. Within your own capacity, in true ahimsa, non-violence. So not being violent with your own body, just knowing your limit. If I can only bend this far, that's fine, doesn't matter. I'll just bend this far. Maybe tomorrow I'll bend a little farther. That's irrelevant. But the thing is, you just move your body, you just let it flow totally naturally, without being an obstacle to yourself, without being an enemy to yourself. And in that whole thing, by and by you realize, I am in yoga, I am living here, I am in that space, and the whole attention becomes centered on the whole body, not just in separate parts where, centered around the eyes most of the time. Now our whole identity is around the eyes, but now we just spread all over the body. We just understand we're a whole. We're not fragmented, we're not in parts. The whole is the whole, and we just move with that. So now describing what happens and this and that, it's difficult in words, because it's something you have to taste. It's something you really have to taste, because trying to understand yoga in an intellectual way is like you have this nice piece of cake on the table, and we're here trying to describe what the piece of cake tastes like, and it looks like this and that. Just take a bite. So the intelligent person comes in, just doesn't even talk, just bites and enjoys. So really that whole experience is about you connecting with yourself, disconnecting from, at least for a moment. I'm not saying leave your cell phone, leave your iPod, leave this and that. No, use it as a tool, that's fine. But at least for one moment, just understand this is the iPod, just leave it there for a moment. Leave it on the side and get to know yourself a little bit instead of, and I think the youth nowadays, it's something that is crucial to start to spend a bit of time also with ourselves. They've taught us all our lives, and we've seen what it leads to with our parents. If we look at the parents, what's the percentage of our parents that are absolutely fulfilled? They have this concept of this retirement and the golden age. At 55, I'm going to retire. What's happening now? They've pushed it back to 65 because the whole social system is kind of falling. I mean, I won't say all of what I was doing before, but let's say I was enjoying, in the ways that the youth enjoys, with different kind of things. But one thing in me told, at some point when I was practicing, say let's go to Nithya Dhyan, no? We have this meditation, Nithya Dhyan, which is a dynamic meditation that takes you from maybe a chaotic state of mind to a very nice inner silence. And without any effort, just follow the steps and it takes you there. What happened so naturally practicing that meditation is suddenly things would change in me. I just realized, hey, why am I ruining my body? I was young. I was 27 when I started this thing. So my body was still fit. I was able to do something with it still. But I realized I'm wasting it so much by overconsumption of so many things, no? And why am I doing that? I have such a great opportunity, and this is the case for all the youth. We have such a nice opportunity to be young, to be there, and to do something different with life than just wasting it. Just wasting it and then realizing too late, oh, I've postponed all my life, running after something that who knows what everyone's running for or running after. And at least realizing that, okay, for a bit of time during the day, just set some time for yourself. Maybe it's 1 hour, maybe it's half an hour. Doesn't matter how much time, just get some time and at least do a bit of yoga, Nithya Dhyan, and you'll see how it pays off so much in life afterwards, because the way you produce, you'll work smart. You won't work hard. For example, doing all this homework, studies, this and that, constantly asking us to memorize. That's all at intellectual level. Once you fall in that space of yoga, something awakens in you, which is called intuition. And that's where all our great scientific discoveries come from. It's in the state of just a click, just knowing it, like the light bulb, Newton and the apple. Oh, he gets it. He understands. So many great discoveries, great achievements in any field were done in that space of unclutching, of pure intuition. And that's beyond the mind, just beyond the reason, the logic, all of that. So the youth, if they just set aside a bit of time for that, even though they may invest time there and not in their video game or in some homework or something like that, whatever they do after is going to be so much more productive. So instead of spending 3 hours scratching your head trying to study hard for this exam, you'll just go in a cool way to the exam. Maybe you'll review your notes for maybe 1 hour instead of 3, or even less, and you'll just know. Because if you're in class, you'll be in class. You'll just be seeing, listening, absorbing. I don't know, in my case at least, when I was in class, I wasn't in class. You're always waiting for the next break. When is he going to be done? This teacher is so boring. I mean, you don't want to be there. Most youth, they don't want to be in class. They don't want to be in schools. I don't blame them also. I would say, and that's when I feel like I've started living my life, is after university. They were offering me scholarships, they were offering me work, all this great stuff. I said, no, I'm going to surf. Because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go on the beach and surf. And I did it. And I was so fulfilled when I did it. Now I feel I've done it. I relax. I can understand now. Part of prarabdha karma. Whatever desire I came to fulfill in this life, I did it. And so I'd say once we connect with that space of Nithya Yoga, that prarabdha karma, that unique path for us will be laid out in front of us. And that path will be bliss, because it won't be someone else's desire, and we'll just walk our own unique path, and we'll, as a youth, we'll grow in such a beautiful being for the future generations also, instead of trying to fit in a mold that we already realize it doesn't work out. The parents have proven it. No, it just doesn't work out.
And people are running faster. Everything is so much outward, so it's not being fulfilled, so we're continuing to fill it in all different directions, from not only processed food, but different types of gyms. I just feel like everyone's on this treadmill with this electronics, like you say, of sensation within the eyes, of all of this flickering, and it's right there. You don't have to go outward. You don't have to keep looking. You look inward. It is right there.
Yes.
And giving your time and moments of just, even if it's 2 minutes, if you're not used to it. I don't think we realize the social conditioning that's happening, like we were saying, in elevators, now gyms. They have televisions every second, and what is on there? Negativity. It's news. It's all of whatever that's happening in the world. People are saying, why am I leaving the gym not feeling refreshed? Why am I feeling maybe anger? Why am I more agitated? So then they continue to go out and do other things. It's there and it's inward. It's just that you're getting overstimulated with all of this outer world. You're not going to find it in the outer world. You're going to find it in your, and whatever your path is going to be, from enjoying, like you said, for university, when you're in the present, you're just there and you're enjoying. Or if you've decided to go and to do surf, or follow what our spiritual path has been, it's going to be right there before you, your path, if you just continue to stay inward. And that's what I love about Nithya Yoga and the meditation, which we'll get on at the end of the CDs and how to get it. And I think it's on the Nithya Yoga website as well, the steps, if somebody wanted to just try that out. Yeah,
you can go on the nithyananda.org or nithyayoga.org on the websites, and the meditations are there for sure. And any information, if they want to contact us, our email is mail at nithyananda.org, I think. So, and you can contact me directly also. You can put my email on the screen as it appears at the bottom. Rishi
so as you're
Nithya,
seeing this is coming along the screen.
Nithya Mitranandarishi at gmail.com. Feel free to email me, and I'll be happy to connect, answer any questions, and share my experience, and then hopefully meeting in various cities as we'll keep traveling. Swamiji has opened us a beautiful door of traveling the world and teaching, sharing that experience of yoga and meditation. So basically just sharing that whatever has touched us and keeps touching us all the time. Like I said, Nithya Yoga is not a final product. It's a constant exploration, it's a constant expansion, it's a dynamic process that is yoga, and it just goes on and on and on and on, and not in terms of time, just realizing that the concept of time as we understand is just psychological. When we just step out of time in that state of restful awareness, it just becomes pure being, and that's all. That's why life becomes so joyful. You're just enjoying. If you're here, oh wow, that's great, I'm here. It looks so simple because as young people we're in the phase of our lives where we want to explore physical stuff, but it's not to say that you'll exclude that from your life. No, you'll keep exploring it in such a more sensitive way. So you're instead of being overdosed by the senses, if you're able to relax from the senses from time to time, even though if it's for a little bit of time during the day, when you go back to it, you'll just be fresh. You look at everything with fresh eyes. You look at your friends
so
like new beings. You never assume people. You don't take people for granted. That includes your relatives, your family, your friends, everybody. So
completely different outlook on life. So thank you very much for sharing. I hope you come back.
Yes,
it was really enjoyable to hear your story.
You can go on and on talking.
And it really does help a lot with the youth. I think our own experiences and what that's brought to us, it really helps connect with their stories and a path of how to get there. I think a lot of times they finally know maybe what's wrong, but they don't really know how to start to move towards some solutions. So
and personally, I say in my experience again on that tour, whether it's with the youth or the anybody of any age, when I see the transformation, when I see a beautiful story of somebody getting over some fear, getting over some worry of whatever it is that is a blockage in their lives, and suddenly they open up and they become so joyful, and you see that experience, you see that glow in their eyes, it just makes me melt. It's just wow. Now I understand why I keep just sharing and doing it, because it's such a nice fulfillment for me, and just seeing the fulfillment in others makes me more fulfilled. So I hope to meet everyone on this on the future trips, and the youth, and just as everyone else.
Yeah, that is just so true, that why we've started the show and why we continue is just that we see so much beautiful transformation, that we want to just share it with everyone. And so thank you again.
Okay, thank you, Nithyananda.